This is the new Klim GT-1 Expedition modular helmet, and it's got a lot of innovative features, but it also has one thing missing which really surprised me when I took it out of the box. So, full disclosure, let's get this out of the way straight away. As you will probably know and can tell from the sting, I've worked with Klim for a few years. They do support the channel, and of course they did supply this helmet to me to test and review. But as with ever on my videos, I'm going to be completely open and honest, and I'm going to talk about the good things and the bad things. And rest assured that in any of my videos, none of the brands or the manufacturers get to see that content before you do, and they certainly don't have any say in what I'm talking about within the video itself. Right, with that out of the way, let's get on to what that missing item is, because it is something that I think will stop a lot of riders from even considering this helmet. There is no drop-down internal sun visor. For a lot of riders who use a modular or flip front helmets, that is a deal breaker. If a drop-down internal visor is a non-negotiable item for you, then stop right here and look elsewhere, because no amount of different features or strengths of the helmet is going to make up for that. So with that out in the open right from the start, let's take a look at what goes into this helmet and what my impressions have been having ridden this for a month or so to get to know it. Of course, I have to start with that sun visor and the reasoning behind it. Klim have obviously chosen not to include one for a reason. Internal visors take up space inside the helmet, and by deliberately designing a GT1 without one, they've been able to keep it surprisingly compact for a modular design. But of course, it's not just about the looks. The aim is to keep the shell smooth to reduce wind noise and allow the vents to be positioned for maximum effectiveness, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go through the video. In some ways, I see this as a modular helmet for riders who would normally wear a traditional full face. It's relatively light for its style, it's compact and quiet, and from a short distance, it doesn't really look like a flip front helmet at all. So let's take a look at what's gone into it for Klim to achieve that. And this is as good a topic as any to start on. Let's look at the weight. This is a full hand-laid carbon fibre shell, including the chin bar, which incorporates a Koroyd layer sandwiched between the shell and the EPS liner. Koroyd is designed to aid controlled energy absorption with low weight, whilst also allowing air to pass through the structure, helping with ventilation. With the helmet set up ready to go in this size large, it tipped my scales at a fraction over 1700 grams, which is actually pretty competitive for a modular helmet. Sizing ranges from extra small to 3 extra large across 3 different shell sizes. One interesting detail that I mentioned earlier is that hand-laid carbon fibre chin bar is reinforced with EPS for impact protection. Now, that's not something I see on many other, if any other, modular helmets, and I think that highlights Klim's wider effort in making this as protective and as safe as possible. Both visors are Class 1 optical, which I found offers excellent clarity of vision, even with the Pinlock 120 XLT insert fitted. Not only is the view crystal clear, but it's wide and tall too, giving it really good all-round visibility. I say both visors because the helmet ships with a standard clear visor and a photochromic visor in the box too, which is what I've got fitted on here. Both offer UV 400 protection and infrared shielding, and this really does make a difference on sunny days, helping to keep the helmet cooler in use. I first got a demonstration of that infrared protection at EICMA last year, and it's pretty impressive. The coating blocks out infrared rays, which means that the inside of the helmet feels noticeably cooler than a helmet without it. When it comes to the photochromic visor, I've found that its transition in shade to be perfectly acceptable. No, it's not as instant as a drop-down visor would be, but if you've ridden with one of these, you'll realise that you kind of get a constant tint regardless of what the UV level is doing outside. So you don't really notice a change, and you don't notice a switch from one to the other. The visor itself has a quick release mechanism which requires no tools, and that makes swaps quick and straightforward. The hinge mechanism self-adjusts to maintain a tight seal, and the visor sits very flush with the shell to aid noise reduction. Which brings us neatly onto that hot topic, and as I usually say, noise is dependent on many factors. Primarily the fit of the helmet, but it's also the bike that you're riding, whether it's got a screen, your height, the jacket you're riding even, all have an impact on the level of noise that you will experience from a helmet. Having said that, all things being equal, some helmets are quieter than others, and this helmet definitely sits right slap bang in the middle of that quiet zone. It didn't seem to matter which bike I wore it on, as it was constantly quiet, and that didn't change very much at all, even when the vents were fully opened. And that's an excellent segue into the subject of ventilation, which is one area where, again, I think this helmet really excels. Both lower and upper chin vents are operated by a spring-loaded latch. And a quick note to Klim, can you please utilise the same on the X1 Alpha Adventure helmet? These look almost identical. In fact, I think the covers are identical, but the operation of these is better than that helmet. The top vent uses a simple open or closed rocker switch, but the design means that you've got openings at both the top and the bottom of that vent, and it works extremely well. And this is another area where that lack of internal visor has definitely helped. Klim have been able to position the vent lower on the helmet, which improves airflow whilst also minimising additional wind noise. Whatever the theory, the reality is that this as a combination works very well indeed.
And the thing I really like about that top vent is that upper opening flows the air through the top of the helmet and out through the exhaust vents. The lower opening directs it down onto your brow, so you get a nice cooling effect, doesn't blow into your eyes. But the effect of the two together, when you've got everything shut, is you've just got a really nice, light, airy feel all the time with air circulating around in the helmet, which I think is really, really good.
Fit and comfort next. As with all Klim helmets, the GT1 is designed around an intermediate oval head shape. It is fractionally snugger than the X1 Alpha Adventure helmet in the same size, but that's something that tends to come with the territory of modular or flip-up lids. The interior is plush and comfortable, and it does a good job of managing moisture. The integrated chin curtain uses an elasticated gusset, which I like, and combined with the neck roll creates an excellent seal around the base of the helmet. And this is one of the areas that generates a lot of wind noise and is where a lot of wind noise actually gets into the helmet itself. So having as snug a neck roll as you can get on here helps, and I think that's why this helmet works particularly well in that regard. The chin bar release works really well, pulling in the same direction you'd naturally pull to raise the bar itself. All of the pins and latches are stainless steel, but the helmet doesn't lock in the upright position, which means that it isn't P&J homologated. Again, in connection with and like the drop down visor, I suspect that is a deliberate design choice. This feels very much like a full face helmet that happens to be modular, rather than a modular helmet designed to spend significant time being ridden open. A micrometric buckle secures everything safely on your noggin, and the liner has generous speaker cutouts with a nice flat section on the side of the helmet, which should make fitting most third-party communication systems very straightforward. So it's relatively light for a modular helmet with excellent vision, comfort, ventilation and noise isolation. But of course, as I've already mentioned, that lack of drop-down sun visor means that this helmet will get scratched off of lots of people's lists straight from the start, and I completely understand that. The included photochromic visor goes a long way towards addressing that issue, but it's still not the same as having the ability to instantly deploy a drop-down visor when conditions change. Personally, I've always liked and got on with photochromic visors. I had one on my Shoei RYD for years and loved it. I've got one fitted on this. There's one on my AGV K6S and on my Nex X Rally helmet. And the thing that all of those helmets have in common is they don't have a drop-down internal sun shield. In some ways, I see the GT1 as a modular helmet for riders who would normally choose a traditional full face. So it's a touring helmet for riders who want pretty much all of the benefits of a full face helmet, whilst retaining some of the practicality of a modular. And if that was Klim's aim at the start of developing this helmet, I think they have absolutely nailed it. The GT1 is available in 6 different colours and retails currently in the UK at £980, and that's going to be another hurdle because that prices this right at the top end of the premium scale, with only a few helmets costing the same amount or more. And again, that will make it a hard sell for a lot of riders in what is a very competitive segment. But if you're looking for a premium modular helmet that behaves more like a full face helmet, then this may well be just what you're looking for, assuming you can stomach that price. So I've been riding in this for a month or so to get my first impressions to bring you this video, and I have to say I've really enjoyed it. I do really like this helmet. I think it looks fantastic, it's really comfortable, it's very quiet, and the ventilation is very good too. Having lived with it for the period of time that I have means that I have appreciated that Klim's design philosophy actually makes a lot of sense to me. Whether that question makes sense to you is something you and only you can answer. But talking about questions, you know how this works. If you have any for me, drop those in the comment section down below and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. And all that leaves me to say is, until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.